And now for the Kansas Wesleyan University's Coaches Show with the voice of the Coyotes, Tyler Henry. And now, here's Tyler.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in for another installment of the Kansas Wesleyan Coaches Show, presented by Billings Group. So good to be with you once again, and we're joined here at the top of the hour by co-interim head coaches David Leonard and Chris Snyder. Gentlemen, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So you guys are both pretty well known around here, obviously, but with the new role, I wanted to give you guys each a chance to kind of reintroduce yourselves a bit and just share a little bit more about your coaching journey and what led you to Kansas Wesleyan. And Coach Leonard, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, so this is my fourth season here. When I first came on board, I started on the defensive side. Second year, I was the defensive coordinator, and then being an offensive player in college, I switched back over to the offensive side. So I've been doing that this will be my second year on offense, and so it was great having an opportunity to cross-train on both sides of the ball and kind of see football from a different perspective. So originally from Kansas City, played ball at Wyoming, and then realized in my 30s I wanted to get back into coaching, and I wanted to start college coaching. And so this was right after the COVID season. They were revamping their developmental program, and a position opened up, and so I was fortunate to get the spot. And
Coach Snyder, I know we talked to you a little bit about this earlier, but if you could just kind of revisit that just a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if our segment's long enough. No, this is my 23rd year of coaching college football. Originally from Phoenix, went to Doane College, which is now Doane University, and then got right into coaching. Second stint here, I worked as the offensive coordinator back in the day under Coach Dave Dallas. Left Bethany a couple of years ago as the offense coordinator, just looking for more stability. Started working in admissions, and then they allowed me to do some helping out coaching. And then right before this season, they moved me over here to full time. So I'm overseeing the developmental, the retention stuff. Just really my main focus is the young players and everything like that and their development.
Obviously, I'd be remiss if we didn't at least discuss the change that was made last week. The university issued in a release that told the public Matt Myers has stepped down as head coach. The two of you would be stepping up as co-interim head coaches. What has that transition been like for the two of you here just in the midst of the season?
I think it's been a unique one, to say the least. And I think the important thing for certainly myself is just trying to maintain and stay the same, coach the way I've always coached. And I'm fortunate that I'm surrounded by very, very good coaches and very good players. And so, it's a joint thing between all the coaches. And so it's been unique, but, it would have been more difficult had we not had the coaching staff that we have and then the players that we do.
Yeah, well, I echo what Coach Leonard said. Definitely been a whirlwind, especially when you combine it with the kids having fall break, and a lot of them already had plans to go home. So we had them for about a day and a half. But like Coach said, our coaching styles, for me, haven't changed. I've always been about the players, and that was kind of the focus from there till when we go to this whole week with practice is just the players' morale. Making sure that they know that we're here for them as people, not, hey, we have to win ball games. It's all that we care about. And our coaches do a good job of that. And then, we have mixed some things up, and it's been a collaboration of coaches just, hey, we're halfway through in the season. Let's figure out some things to still get our work done, but keep it fresh for the players. And then we've had some players come in and have suggestions which is what the coaches wanted to do. And we're already thinking about it anyway. So I would say as a program, it's been a good collaborative effort, and hopefully it shows up this Saturday.
Co-head coaches is something that I've seen before, but I know that every team has kind of handled it a little bit differently. Functionally, what does that look like for the two of you, and how do you kind of utilize that to play to each of your strengths?
Well, I think going back to just a collaborative effort, and Chris is OCD, if you didn't know that about him, but it's perfect because I am not. And so bouncing ideas off of each other and the rest of the coaches, I think, is such a big thing. And it's worked well for us because it's not certainly one person calling the shots. It's a collaborative effort. And so, I think it's a very, very good mix.
Yeah, I think that's Coach Leonard and I've known each other the last few years very well through our wives and kids. So that relationship formed a while ago. But yeah, it's a collaboration. It's good to have extra people saying, hey, remember, we got to do this, we got to do that. Because we all had roles before all this happened. And now it's just kind of double checking that things are still getting done and meeting with players and what do we think about this. And so, Coach Leonard and I talk a lot, but we also want to make sure the other coaches have a say and input as well on everything we do moving forward.
Well, and Coach Snyder, you brought this up a moment ago, and it was something that I did want to kind of ask you guys about. Obviously, a leadership change here, but I would anticipate, based on what I know, probably nothing too drastic changing in terms of the football being played and in terms of the style that you guys plan to run. Any shakeups there, or is it more just kind of running the stuff that everybody knows?
Well, we did change the triple option. This was just totally kidding. No, we can't. You're not going to do that to the players. Nothing has changed scheme wise. We've looked at some other players, that add some depth, still have a couple of kids banged up. So, but no, scheme wise, offense, defense, special teams, no changes at all. Maybe even probably being a little more simplistic, with some of the things we do, but no wholesale changes there. So.
To this point in the season, I know the team is 2-4, but it feels like all to play for. Everybody in the Bissell division is 0-0. You win the division, you get a spot in the NAIE playoffs. Does it feel like this is almost kind of just a clean, fresh start as you guys head into the most important part of your season?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think talking with the players and the meetings that we've had and looking at previous games, our best ball is ahead of us because right now it's just a matter of us executing what we do, and I think we've really emphasized accountability, and that's, ourselves as coaches being accountable and how we're coaching everything. And then for players, carrying over what we do in practice to the game, because certainly at our old age, we're not suiting up and going out there and playing. So I think the players are being accountable for mistakes and correcting the mistakes and putting our best foot forward and, presenting what we've worked hard for. So I think that's, this is a great opportunity, having a fresh start, going into divisional play.
Yeah, the kids are smart. I mean, they know we won our league or division, and we have everything in front of us. We haven't had to really talk about that much. They understand it, so that helps when you still have something to play for. But we've also emphasized the fact of playing for one another, no matter how they feel about certain things or life or whatever they have going on in life. It's the guy next to you is who you're playing for, whether it's a senior or junior. So that's the things that we've emphasized the last few days. And again, you hope it carries over the Saturday. It helps being home, not having to travel 3 hours. Like if we were on the road, homecoming, we'll have a good crowd. So everything you would want to make sure your kids are up for the game.
One thing that's obviously not in question, nor has it been since day one, this team has a ton of talent. I mean, you look up and down, offense, defense, when things are clicking, when things are firing, this is a team that has a lot of potential. But I was curious, as you head into these last 5 games with things kind of where they are right now, what are the biggest challenges that you guys feel, the team will face as you guys head down through these last 5 games and try to make a playoff spot?
Well, I think it's, the whole KCAC is very much, if you don't bring your best game, everyone can beat you and vice versa. So I think really going back to accountability and understanding like, hey, mistakes are going to be made and we have to be accountable for them and we can fix those mistakes. And so I think that's really the biggest thing going forward is for us to see what we can improve on and then making those correct steps every single day to make that change. Because like you said, there's a lot of talent on this team, and we, as coaches, we're looking to find a way to maximize that and for, to get the most and the best out of our players. And I think the players are holding each other accountable as well, on offense, defense, special teams, because you look across the board and we need to play up to our talent. And, that's certainly the goal. And that's, if I think with every team and every game, that's, the challenge. So, I think we're looking forward to it, just getting started back up on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the only worry you always have as a coach, because they're still younger than you as players, is just how you handle adversity, right? And they've already gone through adversity. record-wise, the change and everything. So just seeing the first couple times that we face adversity on Saturdays, always you hope your players handle it. We've talked about it, but that's always probably the one thing I think, at least for me as a coach, you worry about. You can talk to your blue in the face about handling it, but when something does happen, are we gonna handle it, or is it gonna be like, oh, here we go again? So I think that's probably one of our bigger challenges too, is just staying locked in and staying together for all 4 quarters.
Well, and on the flip side of that coin, when you look at the group that you have going into battle with here for these next 5 weeks, I mean, what is the thing that has you the most excited or optimistic about with these last 5 games?
I think just the guys that we have, the personalities that we have. I mean, this is a great group of young men, not just talent-wise, but just human beings. I mean, unbelievable group. And it's everything's exciting, because this is a certainly a big opportunity for everyone and for these seniors. The goal is stays the same of we want to send them out the right way. And so that's every opportunity to work with these guys in this team is exciting.
Yeah, I totally echo again what Coach Leonard says. It's just something new and fresh. You've kind of had the bye week, the body, the mind heals. You get away from football for a little bit, so there's just that natural excitement. We get to play a game, and again, I go back to it's nice to open the second part of the season at home. A lot of people on campus. That should really aid to the excitement of our players. So it's an exciting time right now, even though everybody is handling and dealing with things at their own pace. But so far, again, keep going back to the last few days. For the coaches here, we couldn't have asked for anything more with the kids being resilient.
Co-interim head coaches David Leonard and Chris Snyder here on the KWU Coaches Show, presented by Billings Group. Our conversation continues when we return right here on KINA.
We spend 1/3 of our lives working to build our wealth. With over 50 years of combined experience, Billings Group wants to be there to help manage yours. If you're planning for retirement or looking for financial coaching, then come see us on Westchester Drive, east of the YMCA, or visit our website at billingsgroup.com. Securities offered by registered representatives through Private Client Services, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory products and services offered by investment advisory representatives through RFG Advisory, a registered investment advisor. RFG Advisory, Billings Group, and Private Client Services are unaffiliated entities.
When life deals you a bad call, throw the challenge flag and fight for your rights. With more than 110 years of combined experience, the legal team at Carter & Alt Duel in Salina help their clients fight to overturn bad life calls, DUI arrest, divorce, child support, and custody decisions, or protecting your Second Amendment rights. Wade Carter and Charles Alt Duel fight for you every day. Get the winning legal team at Carter & Alt Duel on your side to fight for your rights. Find them on the web at cadlawlc.com. That's cadlawlc.com.
Now back to the Kansas Wesleyan University's Coaches Show with Tyler Henry.
Welcome back in here on the Kansas Wesleyan Coaches Show. Once more, we're joined by co-interim head coaches David Leonard and Chris Snyder. Our conversation presented by American Family Insurance. Guys, when you look at the first half of the season as kind of a package deal overall, what would you say has been the best thing that you've seen out of this group, and how impressive you've been with the way that they've battled?
Yeah, I think they've done, all 3 phases. We've had our moments, special teams, defense has had great games. Offensively, we've shown that we can move the ball pretty quickly in stretches. So I think moving forward, it's just, every coach says the same thing. It's just stringing enough of those positive plays together. It'd be nice to have more games where all 3 are firing on all cylinders. We definitely have the kids to do it, and that's the exciting part. The cupboard's not bare right now. And like it's said, we keep saying the kids have been engaged and definitely interested the last few days. So hopefully you see all 3 phases at today's game.
Yeah, we had our glimpses for sure. And when it's done right, it jumps off the film. And so you know that if we put it together, the capability is there. And so once again, like Coach said, stringing those together and stacking positive plays and on both sides of the ball and special teams. If we can do that, the ability is there. And so it's just a matter of going out and executing it.
Despite the level of competition, obviously you guys faced 3 nationally ranked teams in the first 5 weeks of the season. But, I know 2-4 wasn't the way this team wanted to start. What are the biggest improvements that you guys are kind of looking to see as we head into the back half of the season?
I think, again, it just boils down to the consistency. I mean, it's like coaching cliches, but really it is. I mean, when you have the kids, you have the scheme, it's just being more consistent. Hopefully, next couple of weeks, you might see a couple more players getting more reps than other, and that's a credit to the kids for developing and earning their right to get some more reps and everything. So there's also that excitement. So right now, a lot of things to look forward to these next few weeks, and it's consistency on the field, but also the accountability of the classroom, the weights, treatment, all the different things. Be a college student and go support your other teams that we also want to make sure we're building on as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo it, and same thing. It's I don't think football always has to be a difficult or challenging thing as far as X's and O's. It's just going back to winning your matchups, executing consistently, and defense helping offense with field position, and special teams doing the same thing. If we can set ourselves up for one side of the ball to help the other, and special teams to do that as well, then we have a good opportunity to be in every game.
I know obviously every game is important throughout the course of any football season, but you take a look at the standings, you take a look at the way things shook out. The Kessinger division's got some really loaded opponents in there. I was just curious to get your thoughts on this. I mean, obviously these are the games that matter a little bit more, considering that there's a playoff spot up for grabs. Do you feel like the battles with teams like Friends, like Evangel, like Southwestern have really kind of prepared this team for the 5 games ahead?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, anytime you play a really good competition, whether you win or lose, you're definitely going to benefit from that. But going into this next few weeks, we're preaching it, but all the other coaches are saying clean slate, and they're feeling good about their chances because they're like, this is the year Kansas Wesleyan looks like they're down, or perfect time for us as well. So a lot of coaches having similar rally cries on that, but it's just been one of those years, and that's. I've been around the KCAC for a bunch of years and followed it when I wasn't coaching in the conference. And it's like every few years somebody comes out of nowhere, and you sometimes all of a sudden the school's committed for a few years for that school, and then a new school pops up. So credit to Kansas Wesleyan for the continued success they've had here for years. That we've been one of the top dogs. So our administration definitely does it, does it the right way with their commitment.
Well, and Coach Leonard, I was curious to get your thoughts on that as well. But, when you look at that sense maybe around the conference, is there a bit of a chip on the shoulder with some of these guys that, people think this might be the year that KW goes down? Now it's a chance to go out and kind of prove those people wrong?
I think so. I think, we kind of talk about it quite a bit, that we're going to get everyone's best. And that's what we want. And that's, if we go into it every game knowing that you're going to get that team's best, it kind of puts you in a situation where we have to match that. And so, it's a great opportunity to be in, but it's one that comes with, the responsibility of, hey, every Saturday we have to be ready to go, because we understand and know that the other side of the field, they're going to be.
You don't have to name any names necessarily, but just generally speaking, I mean, was the 2-week break, the bye week, the fall break good for a chance to everybody just, kind of take a breath, but more importantly, to get healthy physically and maybe get some guys back on the field coming into this last stretch?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've had quite a few injuries, first half of the season, and that's always difficult, especially when, there are guys that have played substantial roles and they've been starters. And so to get back, guys that are healthy, I think is a big thing, and it helps us out with competition and practice. It gives us more depth. Depth is something that is vital when you're going through a season, and so sometimes you get lucky with injuries, and sometimes it's a little bit more unfortunate with guys that go down. But I think we got some guys just normal nicks and bruises, and we got some guys that are healed up, and so we should be pretty close to full strength and ready to go.
Coach Snyder, I know you talked a little bit about maybe the outward perception looking in at Kansas Wesleyan. I was curious, though, to get kind of the other side of that, looking from the inside out. A lot of people look at the talent on this roster. They still see Kansas Wesleyan as the biggest team potentially to win the Bissell Division this year. Nobody else in the division above 500 coming into this final stretch. Is that a confidence that you feel like is shared by this locker room? And if so, do you feel like that's a positive thing?
I think our kids are pretty confident. They see the talent around here. They still feel like we should have won some of those other games, so it's, we've lost games, but you're not getting blown out, so that, there's a kind of reality check to that. We all kind of sit around and kick ourselves in the bottom a little bit about how this game slipped away, those kind of things. So I think we have a confident group. Again, this doesn't happen very often where you kind of have these changes, and again, you hope that how the kids are handling it these last few days carries on to Saturday. But I don't think there's a team that, we definitely respect everybody because we don't have a record and our performance hasn't warranted us to look ahead on anybody. So they've been focused on getting the first one done, and we still have that goal in front of us. The kids believe it. So we haven't had to convince the kids like, hey, we're a good team or whatever. That's been kind of an easier thing because they've seen it. But I think also having the break and the bye, not just a physical thing for us, but mental. I think, just getting out of the routine for a few days of weights and study tables and practice and training room and classes. And, even with some of the kids that didn't go home, they're just able to just relax, just shut the brain off for a little bit. So I think it really has benefited us mentally and physically.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about your first matchup coming up here in the second half of the season with Avila on Saturday. When you guys have a chance to scout the Eagles, you watch them on film. What are the things that kind of pop off the page to you right away?
Well, they're a talented team. I mean, they're a dangerous team, and they, certainly offensively, they have some great weapons. They got a really good quarterback, and so and the same thing defensively. I mean, they'll do a lot of different things. They'll give you a lot of different looks, and so I think it goes back to a little bit of what we've been preaching about is we have to study and approach every game, once again, that we're going to get their best, but, really focusing on what we needed to fix, what we can control, focusing a little bit internally, as well as certainly scouting and respecting the opponent because they're a dangerous team. And certainly I don't think that's anything new or surprising for anyone here on staff or on the team.
Yeah, I think they probably feel the same way. They've had a couple games, a couple plays here could have gone their way, and they probably feel the same way. We're in control of our own destiny. We knock off K-Dub first game. We're in control, even more control of our destiny. We're definitely going to win this conference because we've got the talent to do so. So again, we have a lot of things going our way. Playing at home is nice under the circumstances. They lost their last game before going into the bye week too. So probably two similar teams feeling the same way about things. So we'll see how it plays out tomorrow or today.
Coach Leonard, specifically when you take a look on your offensive side of things, where do the Eagles look strong defensively? What are some of the challenges that they throw at you on that side of the ball? And where will the K-Dub offense have to be sharp this Saturday to make sure that you can overcome that?
Yeah, I think they do a lot of different things with up front and bringing backers or bringing edge pressure. They're constantly changing it up, so you're constantly trying to figure out what they're going to do. They disguise it pretty well. So that's always the challenge of trying to see what they're doing, and for our offensive line, for our quarterback, for our receivers to understand what they're presenting. Because that's the challenge, and that's obviously why they do it is they're going to bring several different pressures and trying to confuse you. And they play physical, they play violent, and so that's always a challenge. Anytime you have a team that does that and they change up the looks, it's a challenge for us to dissect it and see how we can counter it and hopefully hit some big plays and move the ball and put some points on the board.
Coach Snyder, on the other side of that coin, Eli Williams comes back to play quarterback for another year. Jalen Thatch is another big piece that Avila returned from last season. When you watch this offense function, what are some of the dangers that they pose on that side? And again, where will the defense have to be sharp this Saturday?
I think just like any game, you don't want to give up the big plays. Obviously, the quarterback's the number one thing. Everything goes through him, whether it's him using his legs to extend plays, get out of the pocket. So, that's been a big rallying cry for our defense, is just keeping things in the pocket, staying in your rush lanes. I know this all sounds like coach speak, but it truly is. Their success is going to boil down to how that kid plays. So we want to make him feel uncomfortable as much as possible. And, special teams will be a big thing for us too. We feel like we've got some really nice pieces with our field goal. We got 2 kickers that are amazing. We have a very good punter. Our returners have shown they've made big plays for us. Even our upbacks have had nice returns for us. So I think that's going to be just as big of a part for us at home for getting those momentum swings.
Well, and then last thing for you guys, just generally speaking, overall, you look at this matchup, what would you say are going to be your biggest keys to the game? What does Kansas Wesleyan have to do to start 1-0 in the Bissell Division?
Execution. I don't know. It's something I keep saying, and it's so simplistic. But I mean, that's really the name of the game. The team that executes at a high level more consistently usually wins a game. And so I think that's what will help us out with success is just executing on all 3 phases and doing it fast and physical and enjoying playing on Saturdays.
Yeah, I would say definitely no big plays on defense. Offensively, staying on the field, spreading the wealth around a little bit, and in special teams, taking care of what we need to. Don't give them any short fields, no busts, those kind of things. That'll be big keys for us to be successful, and we have the pieces to do it.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to your team here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Once again, those were co-interim head coaches David Leonard and Chris Snyder on the KW Coaches Show, presented by Billings Group. We'll step away, but when we return, the Coaches Show rolls on right here on KINA.
Harbin Construction has been showing integrity, innovation, and building relationships since 1954. Harbin has been doing amazing commercial contracting work in the Kansas area. A fun fact about KWU, Harbin Construction founded just 6 years after KWU's Memorial Library was built in 1948. This building was dedicated to the 24 students who lost their life in World War II. Students helped transport the books from Carnegie Science Hall to the new building using stretchers. Harbin Construction is a proud sponsor of the KWU Coyotes and sharing history of our Salinas College with you. Harbin, your construction partner for life.
A house fire can destroy everything you've worked so hard for in a matter of minutes. Is your home at risk? Jay's Electric in Salina can help. In addition to electrical inspections to ensure your wiring is up to snuff, Jay's offers affordable smoke detector service plans with both monthly and yearly inspection options available. Are your smoke detectors working properly? Have those batteries been replaced lately? Learn more at jayselectric.com. That's JAES electric.com. Jay's Electric, helping you power through.
Now back to the Kansas Wesleyan University's Coaches Show with Tyler Henry.
Welcome back in here on the KW Coaches Show here on KINA, presented by Billings Group. We're joined now by Nolan Jones, D-line coach for your Coyotes. And Coach Jones, first and foremost, welcome to the show.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So before we get too far into, kind of your position group, the way that your guys have played this year, I wanted to kind of just take a step back and look at things from the perspective of your journey to Kansas Wesleyan and kind of what led you here.
Yeah, so journey to Kansas Wesleyan. I'm from Plainville High School out west, about 20 miles north of Hayes, and played for Joe Simon and Grant Stevenson there for a while. Coach Stevenson, he's the head coach of TMP, and he kind of really got me into football and defensive schematics and everything. Kind of taught me how the game works, and it's kind of how I fell in love in coaching. And buddy of mine came up here to play wide receiver, and I wanted to get into it. My mom set up a visit for me and took a visit, committed on the spot, and been here ever since.
That's amazing stuff. Well, and I wanted to take you back and just get kind of your overall thoughts on the D-line through these first 6 weeks. I feel like a lot of positives when you look back on it, but what's been your biggest takeaway from the way you've seen your group play?
Yeah, like you said, a lot of positives. The kids are awesome. I have a really vetted group right now. Josh King Bradley, Muhammad Abushark, Dylan Worrell, Jordan Diggins, Sloan Simpson, John Ababio. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but and also too some young guys that have really been coming on for me right now. Nigel Lockett, he showed up against Bethel, and I mean he showed out obviously, and there's a lot of good things. You want to get hot in this time of year, and I really think we're going to start hitting our stride. Biggest thing for us going into these next 5 weeks is resetting the line of scrimmage. Every time after we play Friends, I feel like we kind of, get our feet underneath us, just, physical triple option team, and after that, we went into Bethel, played really, really well, and just got to, kind of get back and get our swagger back, I think, after the MAC game.
Well, I know you got like individual ice baths for guys. I feel like after Friends, you just need like an ice pool, right? Just throw everybody in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yeah, absolutely. I tell my guys, like, hey, this is the best game we're going to play, because your sacrifice is having a direct correlation to our success. So.
Absolutely. You look at the group that you've got, I feel like depth is obviously a huge piece with that. You got 6 to 7 guys that you really trust to go out there and get the job done. What do you feel like beyond the depth has been the biggest strength of the D-line this year?
I mean, really, it's just their physicality, and really just like defensively, like we talked about, violence and block destruction. Like I spend the majority of my time coaching that. So they've done an awesome job with that. Preparing and getting their hands right, getting their feet right, keeping their legs underneath them, great balance, stuff like that. I mean, really it's just, being physical and, playing the way that they want to, essentially. When I first got into coaching, I was trying to make them into robots, kind of, I was like, here's your gap. You guys, stay, obviously, gap integrity is the most important thing for us, but at the same time, go out and go play football.
Yeah, well, and again, you look at the guys that you have, they've played really well, but I know coaches are always looking for those finer margins. What are maybe some improvements that you're still looking to see out of the D-line here in these final 5 games?
Yeah, I mean, biggest improvements I want to see is we need to get production. We got to get in the backfield more, get more sacks, more TFLs. I think we're kind of off our average right now, so we'd really like to see that. These guys work really, really hard, and I tell them every, these throughout Monday through Friday, we're getting ready. This is kind of our work days, and we get paid on Saturdays. So I would really like for these guys to get paid these next 5 Saturdays and propel us into, a 6th or 7th Saturday.
I feel like you guys have also been blessed with kind of a unique group, because it feels like the guys you have in the trenches are capable of playing to both strengths. You've got a good pass rush, but you're also capable of stopping the run. That's been a strength of this team. Do you feel like you've got guys that are just more versatile, or do you feel like they've kind of adapted into that dual role as time's gone on?
I think they've adapted. Sometimes when I recruit guys, from a junior college, from high school, I mean, really, like D-line, everybody obviously puts on their pass, whatever. Their pass rush.
Yeah.
I guess like everybody has that. I feel like that any high school kid I watch, that's the first 3 minutes of their film, which is awesome. Like I obviously want to see that. How do you get off blocks, all of that. But once you get here, like the gap integrity, I don't even really talk about pass rush for the first 2 weeks that they're here. It's all how do we stop the run? How do you get in your gap? How do you just go be a freak, man? Like that's kind of that's the thing. Go be physical and beat the heck out of somebody, essentially.
Well, and when you look at the guys too, you named them earlier, but again, Worrell, Diggins, Simpson, Abishark, King Bradley, Ababio, these are all guys that played last season. They're all upperclassmen. They're all guys that have been around this program. Is it a little bit easier as a coach knowing that, look, these guys know what to do. They've been here before. Now it's just a matter of getting to go out and execute on a Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you said that. We had meetings, I think it's about a week or 2 ago. Jordan Diggins, we were kind of watching film from practice, and he said, before you watch this, you ever have one of those plays where it happens, you just know it's going to come up in film? This is that for me, coach.
Oh, no.
I mean, they were able to point it out. They're super smart. Like, they understand how my grading system works. They know what I'm looking for. They know how the defense works. I mean, really, the biggest thing for them is, kind of the leadership side of it for everybody else. Leading the freshmen, leading the sophomores. We have an awesome younger, lower classmen group right now. So kind of seeing how they progress and learn from the seniors and the juniors, that's going to help propel this program forward, for, in the future. Jordan Diggins is a perfect example. Christian Bowman, he was a defensive lineman here for a while, and kind of took, Jordan under his wings and kind of grew him, especially in his freshman year. And, Jordan's playing really, really well right now.
That's amazing stuff. You look back at the first half of the year, give me one guy that, again, it's not surprising. We knew what these guys would do, but give me the guy that's maybe impressed you the most, and give me a guy that you think maybe might take even a bigger step forward here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think a guy that's impressed me the most is definitely Dylan Worrell. He's kind of stuck with me throughout my coaching career. He played fullback for me at Highland Community College his freshman year. He transferred here when I came to coach here, played fullback for us for half a second. He asked me at the end of the season, like, Coach, can I come play D-line? I just want to play nose. I just want to run through somebody. I was like, great, man. And, he didn't really know what was happening. Biggest thing for him is he just goes out there and plays ball, and he doesn't really have to think about it. He doesn't go through a million pass rush clinics and anything like that. He was just showing up and playing ball. But he's played really well for us. He's a senior. He's been vetted, so he's playing really, really well. Another guy that I'm excited to see kind of how he progresses through the second half of the season is definitely Nigel Lockett. Like, he's come on super well, as far as like splitting a gap and getting in the backfield. And he's just a big physical athletic guy. So kind of excited to see what he can do kind of these next 5 weeks.
Yeah, 6'3", 245. That's not a small human being out there.
He's a large man for sure.
He is. He absolutely is. Well, last thing for you here, Coach, when you look at your matchup coming up here this Saturday, what are the biggest challenges that are presented by the Avila offense, and where specifically will your D-line have to play well in order to pick up a big win here on Saturday?
Yeah, Avila, they do a lot of things well. They got 2 really good quarterbacks. Eli Williams, we played against them for the last 2 years, so he can throw the ball, he can run the ball. If he can't juke you out, he's going to run through you. So, that's super impressive on his part. And, really good skill positions. The offensive line, they got some veterans on there. They got a lot of upperclassmen on that spot. So, kind of looking forward to see, what kind of challenge they throw at us. Who knows? Maybe they install triple option over the bye week. That's how college football is, this day of age. But, yeah, biggest thing for us is definitely penetrating the line of scrimmage, resetting the line of scrimmage, kind of getting our swagger back, like I said, splitting some gaps and, getting some production in the backfield. Like I said, these guys, they work their tails off for me, and the guys, the seniors and juniors especially, I want to see these guys go out there and succeed and just have fun, man. This is football. We got to, enjoy it. We make it a little too complicated sometimes.
Sounds good. Well, Coach Jones, thank you again so much for your time. Best of luck to your Coyotes against Avila this week.
Yep, appreciate you.
Once again, that was Coyote defensive lineman coach Nolan Jones. We'll step away, but when we return, the KWU Coaches Show presented by Billings Group rolls on next. You're listening right here on KINA.
With record-breaking enrollment, great new facilities, and top-notch activities, Kansas Wesleyan's the place to be. Whether you want to study nursing, elementary education, criminal justice, or social work, our academic programs will open doors for your future, all while you participate in activities like music, theater, or athletics. Learn more about why KWU's the place to be by visiting kwu.edu. That's kwu.edu.
At Gambino's Pizza, we serve more toppings, more taste, and more value. Our all-you-can-eat buffet, open every day from 11 to 1:30 p.m., is the only pizza buffet in town. For only $13, every member of your family can find something they will enjoy with options like classic and specialty pizzas or the appetizers and desserts. Not in the mood for pizza? You can order a fresh salad, hearty sandwiches, or creamy pasta from the menu. Dine in at the Salina or Hayes location or order online at gambinospizza.com. You're going to love it.
Now back to the Kansas Wesleyan University's Coaches Show with Tyler Henry.
Welcome back in here on the KWU Coaches Show, presented by Billings Group. We're joined now by Tanner Glisson, offensive coach of your Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes. Coach Glisson, first and foremost, thank you for coming by the show.
Yes, sir. No problem.
So before we get too far into, again, kind of your group and your guys, I did want to just take a second and step back. Tell me a little bit more about your journey to Kansas Wesleyan and kind of how you ended up here.
Well, I played college football at Faulkner, which is in high school in Alabama. Okay, played there for 6 years. And then, I knew coaching was something I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. My dad coached my whole life, and that's one of my biggest role models. So I graduated from college, and I applied for a lot of jobs. Coffeyville was the only one to get back with me, and I moved to Coffeyville, Kansas in the summer of last year and went through the season with them, went through the spring with them, and then I knew I needed to get my master's, and Kansas Wesleyan was the spot for me.
Overall, when you take a look at these first 6 weeks of the season, what has been your kind of biggest takeaway from the way the O-line has played this year?
We struggle at times, because we like to run the ball a lot, and we really have not been doing that well. And that's something we're harping on. Okay, we want to get back to that. We want to be able to run the ball a lot. So,
when you take a look at some of the guys that you added here on this offensive line this year, you got a couple of big transfers from Coffeyville Community College, Easton Lewis at center, Antonio Caballero at right tackle. How big have those guys been to, just kind of the step forward that the O-line's taken this year?
Having those two guys really helped the offensive line a lot, because Easton, obviously, both of them have played at Coffeyville. Okay, they've been against some great D linemen, and they know the game. Easton's a great center. Okay, he knows defenses. He knows all that. He knows what's fixing to happen, and it's really good. I coached him when I was at Coffeyville. I was assistant O-line over there, so I understand them too.
When you take a look at that group, what feels like the biggest strength of this offensive line, the thing that you can kind of hang your hat on every given week?
Being big and strong in the run game. Okay, I know they can do it. That's like I said, we want to hang our hats on that, and we want to be able to run the ball, and I believe they can do it. So,
overall, on the other side of that, what are some of the biggest improvements that you're still looking to see here out of the O-line in these final 5 games?
Our pass protection. It's got to be a lot better. We got to give the quarterbacks time because when you do want to run the ball, defenses are going to stack the box. And when they stack the box, that should open up the pass game. But if we don't give our quarterback time to throw the ball, then we're going to be in an issue. So.
Well, and I was also curious, on the pass protection, I know, part of it has been just not enough time necessarily in the pocket, but you guys have also faced some really good defensive lines. Do you feel like that's kind of prepared these guys for what's ahead?
Yes, 100%. And we've had some teams throw a lot of stuff at our line. Okay, a lot of stuff they haven't seen before, and so I think we've seen everything we could possibly see as an O-line. So these next 5 weeks, nobody should throw anything at us we hadn't seen.
Overall, what's kind of impressed you the most about just the performance out of the O-line so far this year?
We've had a few games where we were able to run the ball well, and I think, like I said, that's been the biggest takeaway for them. So
take a look at this matchup coming up here on Saturday. You guys take on an Avila team. When you look at Avila, especially when you look at their front 7 in their box, what are some of the biggest challenges that the Eagles present?
They got a pretty physical D-line. Okay, they have some big boys up front, and we're gonna have to take care of them to be able to run the ball like we want to. So.
Well, and last question for you here, sir. But overall, what would you say are the biggest keys to this game, specifically for the offensive line against Avila to pick up a big win on Saturday?
Taking care of the first level first. For the front 4 they got, they're really good. They're really fast off the ball, very physical. We're going to have to take care of those 4 and then move on to the second level, and that will help us in every part of the game as an offensive line.
Well, Coach Glisson, thank you again so much for your time. Best of luck to your Coyotes against Avila this week.
Thank you so much.
Once again, that was Coyote offensive line coach Tanner Glisson here on the Coaches Show, and that'll just about do it for us. But as a reminder, the Coyotes are back in action this Saturday in Salina to take on the Avila Eagles at 1 p.m. You can tune in live on KINA with the Catalog Countdown to Kickoff show set to begin at noon. That's our show, but before we go, I wanted to say a special thank you to Coach Leonard, to Coach Snyder, to Coach Jones, and to Coach Glisson for stopping by. We hope to see you back this Saturday for homecoming right here on KINA.
This has been a presentation of Kansas Wesleyan University's Coaches Show with Tyler Henry, brought to you by CADLaw and Eagle Communications on the Kansas Wesleyan University Network and KINA.